The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.
You're getting ready to watch Brain Mechanics. It's brought to you by a severe brain injured survivor. But you are your own brain mechanic. I'm my own brain mechanic. I have the wrenches. I know how to put in the fuel. You also are the operator of you. Do we need specialists? Sometimes it's more than changing a tire. But you need to keep alert, listen to your body, go the proper speeds, and always check your air pressure. Look in the mirror. Remember, you're going forward and hit the road. Ooh. Welcome to Brain Mechanics. I am Matt Duffin, under here somewhere, the host of Brain Mechanics, which, I've been trying to go through different hosts, co-hosts, and I decided I needed to be a weather girl. Not to tell the weather, just a pretty weather girl. Just like the people on the news. So welcome, Stephanie Padgett, who's actually my aide.
Yep.
And she talks more than that. She got a bigger voice. She's a little nervous. I had some cancellations coming into this show, and we're on the run. Yes, I'm looking at my hair because I got pandemic hair. Nobody has haircuts. They do have haircuts. I got tied back pandemic haircut. Actually, it's a series of HPs in our world. That's health, the pandemic, haircuts, politics, and it's like Facebook, pure hatred. It got crazy. I know a lot of us survivors spent months and hours in communicating online through Facebook because it became our world. We could communicate, we could talk, we could share. And then before the politics, it ruined it. It took it out. It made people that you thought would be friends just hatred. And all they're doing is screaming about your political decisions. Well, isn't that what that's for? So you can let out a little bit? Not have the hatred from 7 or 8 people from around you attack you for that reason only. Not that you stole their gas or nothing. I didn't steal gas. But it got crazy. And it ruined Facebook. It sent it out the door in many, many homes. And in our particular homes, those of chronically injured and ill people, it hurt a big part of their life. A combination of things have hurt my particular life, but for my father, a Pearl Harbor survivor who recorded his first brain injury, I guess. They didn't talk about it back then. At Pearl Harbor, he got percussed. There was a large bomb that went over, a 500-pound bomb went off 2 decks above his head. They all got percussed. Most of them died. He worked his way through it, through the oil and the smoke and the inhalations and his dead buddies. He worked his way through it. There was a tremendous noise on another side of the hatch, and he was banging a coffee cup on, just trying to get somebody, anybody, to get into that compartment that had been crushed to rescue them. And about 3 or 4 hours later, his estimations, there was a sailor and some officers on the other side, and they needed to get some electrical equipment to, and there wasn't much electronics in 1941, to spin the hatch open. And in there they found 18 bodies. 5 of them was still alive. Dad was given a Red Cross, all that stuff. That's what he would say, all that stuff. The people lived. They drug them out, put them in a hospital for a couple of days. You know, nobody knew where to go, what to do. He worked his way through it. And it wasn't like during the start of World War II that a percussion would get you out of the service. They didn't send those guys home. They let them settle down a little bit. I think it was 3, maybe 4 different ships that Dad helped bring back from the Pearl Harbor to the West Coast for repairs over the next 3 years of his life, until he got on another ship. But, you know, that's what they did. I've studied that, you know. In the Civil War, to get out of the Civil War with a head injury, you had to be dead. Not just shot in the head, you had to be dead. Head injuries have been traumatic for a long time. And as I say, he was 86 when I received my head injury. He never talked about it. I'm the youngest of, there's 5 of us, and he didn't discuss it. It wasn't talked about. I don't know if those guys talked about it. Back in those days, they went to lodge and they talked about it. But it needed to be out in the open. 50 years later, it began. And 50 years later, he went through all the training again with me, and he was just, couldn't believe it. It was unreal what these people were teaching him that they should have taught him 50 years ago. And Dr. Backhouse has been on the show the last couple of months. My father and her had many conversations, and it took her a while to be aware of it. So, Woodrow Duffin was a great man, a quiet man. It's what happens when you live through war at that regard. One last closing note on my father. He had 17 battle stars. They're upon his and mother's grave. 17 battle stars. He used to sit and laugh, and he'd tell people, he said, well, that's what the stuff they give me for doing my job. And then battle stars are nice, I guess. They look pretty. But that first one they give me in the Red Cross, that was all easy. They snuck up on me. They come firing in the middle of the morning and snuck up. And he said, the other 16 I knew I was going into. Those were a little tougher. Believe it or not, Matt, those were a little tougher than what Pearl Harbor was.
So I have a question.
You have a question?
I do.
Yay!
March is Brain Injury Awareness Month. So can we talk a little bit about yours? I know you don't like to very often, but can we go over that and how yours happened and coming out of it, your recovery, your schooling, you just happen to relearn everything.
When you lose your brain as part of your dying period and you survive it, you have to learn everything all over again. From the very basic needs, that means going to do number one, number two. You know, you have to learn all that over again.
Right.
And some people, they'll tell you, have you number two today? Have you know? You know, this all goes on when you're in a rehabilitation facility, which I found myself in one because my buddies and I were out just riding around having fun on scooters. And we made them way too fast. That happens when you take the governors off of scooters. We made our governors come off. There was a real bad road coming out of Glenwood, Indiana. Long story short, I flipped mine scooter at 60 miles an hour. Maybe 40. I'd slowed down in the ditch by then. But it was going too fast. You know, they are not meant to do that. Those little tires are not meant to go that. And at 48 years old, I learned that lesson a little late. Just like my helmet that was sitting on my shelf at home. I didn't have it. So I landed on my head. I was with two of my good friends. I was dying. Got a flat spot on my head from it. Broke the right side of my body entirely. I fought like a Dickens when they were trying to get me in an ambulance, I guess. You know, it was fight or flight.
Right.
Drinking was not involved. It wasn't. It was going to be a couple hours later, but you know, things just happen. I hit some holes. I wasn't looking. I went too fast. Landed on my head. Was level of consciousness 3, bordering 2, which means you're just about dead.
So that one tiny accident caused you to have to relearn your entire life all over.
Oh, yeah. And I went from the very best people till I made my team stronger. I understood that.
Right.
My dad, in his stories, I'd understood that if you're going to get yourself stronger, you need Dr. Sam Backhouses, you need Joni Goins, you know, you need John Hyatt's, people I got locally. You need the help that understands. Because there's a real strong chance that your family members will not understand any of it.
Of course, because they've never gone through it before.
No. Most head injuries fade away. You know, one way or the other. They don't survive it. You know, they told me 96.3% of the people with my injury did not survive. And the smaller numbers that talked again. I said, you need to reverse them. Because I went to Lincoln High School. I played for Lincoln High School. I'll go against the odds. I'll play against them. I had to pitch against them all the time. And occasionally we won because we believed. And the Navy taught me a lot of that too. Survival. Fighting your way out. And that's what it takes. And the people that need to be around you, family members, loved ones, they got to have the same fight. They can't be losing their heart because they think you're dying. No, you were told the process might lean to him dying. You know, do you believe in him? Do you believe in her? That's what I think brain injury awareness. Now, I have other people I've met on Facebook that are very solid and very strong in their recovery. And then I got other people online, like a Hoove, that wants to act like he's got a brain injury. They want the sympathy that comes with it. I don't know anybody with a brain injury that wants sympathy. It's just the way their life is.
Right.
Get used to it. So get myself straightened up here. They got through all that survival and work and study and staying with the programs and wanting more, Indiana University and Dr. Jim Malik, my man, he's one of the best brain neuropsychologists that there is. Next thing I know, I'm talking to him in his offices, and Dr. Hammond, Flora Hammond, she's great. You know, I'm talking to all these different people that I'm learning, and I've been to conferences and seeing. And the next thing I know, I'm in their office talking to them. So Indiana University wanted to put me on a program, and I went to schools and classes and different little fun parties, like we, go water skiing. Yes, we go water skiing. To lose laser guns fights. Not everybody can be involved with them because of the laser, but it's just like everything else. Not everybody can bowl, but you go bowling. Try to have some fun and open communication. And to me, that's what Brain Injury Awareness Month is all about. I've had idiots online saying, well, aren't you aware? If you got a brain injury, aren't you aware of it? Huh? Yeah, are you?
What kind of awareness can we bring to people about the brain injury and like the coping mechanisms? And
the awareness would be knowing that it can happen at any time to anybody. We could get out, start walking across the parking lot, drive away, and somebody has a seizure, hits their foot on the brake or the gas pedal, and bam, we're hurt. Not necessarily with age, but normally with age. Strokes. Those will cause brain problems. And when unless you study it and look into it and believe it and realize it, it's hard to imagine it. Simply sit back and imagine yourself and your brain's not functioning. Yeah, you can see colors, you can see this, you can push the remote every once in a while. You don't remember what you're doing. It's a long fight back. I was granted, I don't know by God or who, but I was given the ability to go to school for 6 years, off and on, to learn and understand this. My whole promise to the Lord before all that was, I want to help. I want to put smiles back on brain injured people's and the families' faces, because everybody hovering around you just sad and they're looking like they're dying themselves. You're sitting there looking through the lights bright and you're wondering where'd God go? Wait a minute, who's talking to me? Well, you look like Skip. Where are you going? Why are you not talking to me anymore? Well, on the other side of the coin, inside of our minds, we think we're sitting there talking to our friend, talking to you or somebody. We're mumbling. And I'm not making fun of us. I can do that because I am one. I think that's how that story goes. But anyway.
you just have to relearn everything.
Oh, yeah. And some things you're just not capable of relearning to do. Your mindset, unless it's every day and a repeated learning operation, just because they send you to a class don't mean you learned anything. The same class tomorrow, I might learn some from it. take some notes, keep going and do that day after day for a while, then repetitiveness will set it back into the brain as your neuroplasticity is growing in your brain.
The habit of repetition is what helps you.
Helps rebuild your brain cells that are separated now. Some of them aren't there anymore. They passed away. They died. They're regenerating themselves, in another word. There's a thin coating on the top of your skull that kind of forms and protects and blocks it all in together. And when the neuroplasticity in that area starts growing back, it's going to be what it is. So if you don't learn anything, you're going to sit there like you was when you went down. And I'm doing this because this is how my hands were, God, for 3 years, 2 years this one, you know. We sit and I did this. I was in classes and I sit and just work my hands, work my fingers, work my hands. So work them. If they're down, work them. Do they go all that way? No. And as you well know, Stephanie, my hands are not very strong.
Right. It depends on the day. Some days are better than others. There's
Right.
strengths that come and go.
And why, if it was healing or what I said in my mind, I just got better. You know, a lot of work, a lot of practice. And it goes away. You know, as you've seen some of the things I've been through the last couple of years on the downtrodden.
We're coming up from it.
Yeah, but it's a setback to all the work and advancements that I had made. I have to redo those again. I miss so much being on the radio. Not that I'm not on it, I'm just not on it every week anymore. Because, well, I had a really bad situation that happened last year. And it cost quite a bit of money, twice. And we need to get into the stoppage of that kind of stuff too. You know, this is brain mechanics because you are your own brain mechanic. But if somebody's coming in and using you and trying to take your money and trying to take your ways, obviously you need help. You know, I was the smartest man in the world before I got my head injury. My IQ slipped, I think it was 6 percentage points. I'm still a genius. But I got used by a man and his son in a homeowner's repair. I like to call it a ripoff, but we're getting there.
Slowly, we're recovering.
Yeah, wasn't what the money was for, this, that, and the other.
Right. People take advantage of others that they know have disabilities or the elderly or anything because they feel like they have that power over you.
And for the most part, they'll figure out a way if they do. If they don't at first, you know, I worked with this man for. They started off wrong. I told them wrong. Told them this, that, and the other. They went ahead and did it that way. Sue went out and told them, "You can't do it that. You cutting down those trees." They went ahead and took it. They didn't put the new roof on the house like they were supposed to. But we're getting there. Sometimes you have to dig in wells that you don't have to dig out of. And that is what Brain Injury Awareness Month is all about. Sometimes it's your life. Your life. You're laying there. You don't know much. But you know inside your head that this ain't the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be moving. I'm supposed to be talking. If I can think. You know, I have friends that sit and they watch flies walk across the ceiling when they're in comas coming out of it. sitting and staring at things. I had a couple little dolls, and I'm not embarrassed to say that my daughters had brought me after my accident. And I would sit them on my bed table, so I could look at them and stuff and move stuff around. When I was going through the wake-up period of life, it seemed like somebody had been moving them and touching them, and every once in a while it seemed like it was red in there instead of just light or dark. I couldn't figure it out. I had no idea. But they were just turning the light on and off, or a nurse was coming in and, clearing out an area or moving stuff around. I thought somebody was taking my stuff, which is hardcore when you're brain injured. It's something right there, and you see me lose stuff constantly.
I do, and I have to find it. And you'll ask me, where's this at? And I know exactly where it's at.
And I had to train myself hard, not to think that somebody took it.
Right. Well, I think we're running out of time.
I never run out of time. I move on. I thank you so much for helping me today.
You're welcome. I had fun.
Masks are important, wherever it is. Masks are important. Still wear them.
COVID's still out there, guys.
I tried
Make
to
sure
get
you
somebody.
mask up.
Tried to get somebody from the county health board to talk with us today, but that didn't happen either. And a few other medical people. I don't know what's really going on in the world. I can't go out and see it. But I know you and I are still here. Through all the hell, through all the heartbreak, through all the recovery, through all the love, we're still here. We're living on. Sometimes you need to see a doctor in person than on Zoom. Everybody wants to Zoom.
The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.